let's just call it what it is. The system hates white people.
That's right. That's what I've been saying for 2 decades, that it's all about hating white people. And that's what we should focus on, is the one thing, and I talk about this in Go Free, I talk about this all the way going back. In fact, I say 2 decades, as an adult. I started talking about this at 11 years of age. And I have a book called Crucible all about it. And I discovered, to my horror, indeed, that it was about hating white people, that it was not about all of these other excuses. That's all they were, just pretexts. And in Going Free, we call that mis-pretexting, M-I-S, moralized, intellectualized, sentimentalized. It's just the excuses they give to inflict injury on Western kind and Western civilization. So this young man has started off in the right place. Let's see.
It's just what it is. And everybody wants to call it everything other than that. They want to call.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, I really like where he's going now. I really like where he's going. That is precisely what I've been arguing. Everybody wants to call it something else. Everybody wants to call it something else. They want to. I've been saying now for decades, they want to call it things like anti-capitalism, anti-family, anti-conservative values, anti-anything other than what it really is, anti, and it's anti-white. Let's keep rolling.
But everything other than what it is. You may hear conservatives talk about cultural Marxism, critical.
Yes, this guy really knows what he's talking about. And I could pick the book up right now, and I could start reading from all the years ago that I wrote, that it's things like Marxism and feminism. They are subsets of the superset that is anti-whiteism. Anti-whiteism. Remember, everybody thought, don't use anti-white and anti-whiteism. For all these years, they thought Jason made it up. Since 1994-ish, Jason just invented those words. They're not in the dictionary, made them up. Then at the end of 2000, what was it? 10, 7, 8, 9 or so, Bob, whose last name sounds like wicker, like the chair you sit in, started using a slogan that racism is a code word for anti-white. That was the first time I heard it used outside of my use. He didn't use anti-whiteism. I don't know if Bob would have heard me use anti-whiteism and then say, geez, Jason, you made that up. I don't know. I doubt it. But we found out that I didn't make either of them up. Final Blossom found in the dictionary, 50-year-old dictionary, and now we found in numerous dictionaries, old dictionaries, the anti-whites have extirpated these words out. So now it's okay. You don't have to hate Jason and by not use these anti-white and anti-whiteism. Now they're legitimate. He could go. That's what it is. I've been arguing on Marxism and let's see what else he has to say.
Critical race theory. That's the new one.
Oh.
Marxism. Critical race theory. That's the new one. Got to ban critical race theory. CR.
Wow. Yes. I like where the young man is going. Yes, that's the new one. Remember, we never call the anti-whites and the things they name by the names of their taking. Remember, that's something we learn in Going Free. This person, he's going to go places. He's catching on.
RT. And critical race theory has Marxist origins. It's socialism, it's communism, it's anti-Western, it's anti-Western civilization,
Yes, anti-Western. And you know what I used to say back in when I was working on a Hill in 2001 in the nerve center for the conservative movement. I used to say, when they would say, oh, it's anti-Western, Jason, it's not about white people. I would say, there is no Western civilization without white people, just like there is no forest without trees.
Western culture. Conservatives even will call it anything other than what it is, because it's not politically correct to say what it is.
You never want to use the anti-white lexicon, because, you know, when we use their terminology, we legitimize their ideology. That's a mean curative. We don't want to use their terminology, because By doing so, you legitimize their ideology. You end up staying inside of their anti-white narrative. And inside that narrative, you cannot win. Let's continue.
You can't utter it in polite society, but we all know what it is.
You can't utter it in society. Why? Not because it's not politically correct. We don't use that term, but because our people have been infected with MPs, meme pathogens, anti-white ideas that tell them that it is immoral to say such things, that it is moral to be, and this is how I figured it out when I was 11 and 12 years old. They told me it was moral to pretend like there is no race when it came to white people. It was moral to discriminate against white people. It was moral to take from white people and give to non-white people. So then I figured out, well, then it's immoral. This went both ways, this flipping of the coin. And I would bring this to the administrators and the teachers. It was immoral to care about white well-being. That sounds like a sick system to me. And the adults could not argue against it, except to then slander me as these 20th century historical figures and acting like I was in different little villainy groups in their narrative. Let's continue. I'm liking, overall though, I'm really liking where this young man is going. How about you?
It's racial. It's racial hatred.
Yes.
They hate white people. And why is everybody so afraid to call it that? Of course that's what it is. What has been engendered in the population for the past 2 years?
It's actually been going on much longer. I was lucky in that I had already been going with my father to check on senior citizens in the community and just say hello and listen to them. And so when I got to the point of participating, and I don't know, maybe, I mean, if you want to attribute just being sensible, even as a young man to me, then I'll accept that. Thank you for that. But once I got into the white sympathetic spheres, I searched out the seniors there. I searched out the old folks and I said, tell me what it was like when you were a youth, and then where you were middle-aged, and where you were growing up. And some of them were crazy as all get out. Other ones had valuable things. Almost all of them had something that I could take away from the conversation. And I saw that each person I spoke with had these like little gold nuggets. Some of them had more, some of them had less, and they were wanting to share. They had this wisdom they wanted to share, and I would greedily take it up. And then discovered that, well, the world had been very anti-white a very, very long time ago. Western civilization has not been in our hands for a very long time, long before our lives, our parents' lives, our grandparents' lives. So no need to talk about when exactly it started. That's doom dissecting. I want to get back to this young man because I'm excited about what he is saying. He's definitely going in the right direction, and I strongly encourage that.
Other than anti-white hatred, what are people learning? What's been engendered in the population for the past 30 years? Other than anti-white hatred, what are people learning in the schools? When you go to grade school and you go to American history class, what do you learn about?
You learn, just like I said, in my true story called Crucible, when I was all the way back in junior high school in 7th and 8th grade, and I've been talking about this since then, all through high school, all through my young adulthood. I've been in the white sympathetic sphere, being silenced for so long because I was talking about things a very different way, about doing something a very different way, which is coming to fruition now, the only way that works. I talk about what the teachers were teaching. I talk about the big shrine that was in that junior high school. Look it up. I'm not going to say it because the ear is at the door. I talk about what they were teaching. It was all about hating the white race. Not about all of the, not about economy, not about right and wrong, not about, it was just excuses to victimize Western kind of Western civilization. Sounds like this young man is a really smart young man. He's really getting it, and I think heading down the right path. Good for him.